Are you looking for a podcast where you can hear from real people regarding their real dental drama? If so, then you've come to the right place. Join hosts Bethany Petty and Dr. Rena Kuba as we dive into the solutions we've created and the mistakes we've made while managing dental drama. Let's get started. Dad, thanks for sitting with me early this morning.
Thanks for coming to visit. It's July the 4th weekend. It was a fun weekend.
It was so we didn't blow anything up. We got close last night.
It was very scary.
We lit a few fires. Well, we didn't, but...
I don't know if you had already left, but some of the fireworks caught on fire after it was all over. It would have burned my trailer down.
They were resurrected.
Oh my
yeah, no, we were leaving, and my little Manolo was like, "There's a fire," so we're going fire. You know the hazards of doing your own fireworks.
Yes.
It was worth it.
Yeah,
I would say.
And no fingers lost this year.
Not this year.
You know, one of the guys that was visiting last night was commenting on our firework that it's just so great. And he was telling us a couple of years ago he was at a fireworks with a professional fireworks team.
Yeah.
And one of the guys blew his eye out. Oh my gosh.
If the professionals blow their eyes out.
Yeah, what are our chances of survival?
But we just keep risking it every year,
I know it.
Eventually it'll catch up with us.
Some things are worth it,
Oh,
Anyway,
my goodness.
so it's been fun.
It's been
having
fun.
your family.
Fun weekend for sure.
And now you'll start back home this week.
I was about to say, now we gotta get a
4-hour drive.
Session in before we hit the road and get back to our beloved goats. So, but Dr. Kuba put together. She knew I was coming, and last time she threatened you and said if you don't record, then she's quitting. This time she just said, I know you're going to Arkansas, so here you go. These are the questions. So I'm excited to have some things to chat about today.
Sunday morning
thoughts.
8:30, yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so one of her first questions is retirement.
Right.
Like, what's keeping you in the game? Do you have thoughts on retirement? So remind everybody at this point
I'll be 74 next month. So I started my 48th year of practice in June.
Okay.
So most of the time, Bethany and I, she'll say like an hour before we start recording, this is what we're talking about today. So Bethany sent me some notes last night from Cuba, so I had a chance to get up early this morning and go to the Google.
Yeah.
Because I got to thinking about what is the history of retirement.
Yeah.
And Webster calls it that retirement is leaving your job or your profession. And I thought, when did that start? And looking up like Wikipedia, it went back to the Roman era.
Wow, I didn't know
the
that.
idea of retirement. But in the United States, it started in the 1800s. And municipal employees like firefighters and teachers and policemen, they started providing pensions so they could retire.
Oh,
I'm writing some things down here. Then in 1875, American Express began offering pensions for retirement. 1875.
Wow.
Then in the 1920s, railroads and oils and banking all. But the reason for retirement was so totally different than today. The thought back then was your primary working years were from 25 to 40, and beyond that, you were not really profitable for a company because your mental skills, your physical skills were diminishing. So it was really profit driven.
That's fascinating.
We need to figure out a way to get rid of these old employees that are older than 40. Can you believe that?
And their mental capacities.
And their mental capacities, they could already tell that they're losing it at 40. So that was the reason to institute retirement. It was not for the benefit of the employee. It was for
the
profitability
benefit of
for the company.
Business.
So I thought that was really. So then,
That's fascinating.
In 1935, there's a Townsend Act that proposed compulsory retirement at age 60.
Wow. Okay.
At 1935, at age 60, they were going to give them $200 a month, but they had to spend it quickly.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know if it was motivation to get it back into circulation, but that was part of it. We're going to give you $200, but spend it quickly. You couldn't. They didn't want you to save it or anything. They wanted you to spend it. So it's probably some economical factor there.
Yeah, trying to push it. And that was when, did you
In
say?
1935, the Townsend Act. Then in 1930, I think that was wrong. I think that was in the 20s. And then in 1935, President Franklin Roosevelt started the Social Security Act of 1935, which funded retirement at age 65. So that's what we commonly know.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
So originally it was just for the benefit of the company, or get rid of these old employees.
That is.
Can you live
and
at
then
40?
And then that twist to like, okay, here's you $200 a month, but you need to spend it. So again, that was probably even economically driven.
Oh, sure. Yeah. We're going to give you $200.
But you need to go spend it.
Yeah. Which I guess in the 20s, that was probably pretty good. I don't know if what that would be worth
From
today.
From an inflationary standpoint, yeah.
But anyway.
That's a fascinating history that I had no clue about.
So, and then in 1951, kids, all these information facts, the Corning Company assembled a roundtable to make retirement more popular because they found that most people didn't really want to retire.
Yeah.
And so they started trying to make it more popular. So then Florida in 1910 became a retirement destination. And in the 20s and 30s, retirement communities started popping up to make retirement
look fun.
Yeah.
So to entice people to retire.
Yeah. That because really, and so it did change the whole retirement dynamic, because prior to that, if you retired, there weren't a lot of leisure activities.
No.
What did
you
do?
Yeah.
So my dad worked for Reynolds Metal Company.
Yeah.
Here in Arkansas, and he retired at 59.
Yeah.
But almost without fail, my dad was an exception. Guys retired, and within 2 years,
gone.
Dead.
Yeah.
Just dead. And I think it was because of a lack of.
There's nothing.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Sit and waste away.
So at the beginning of the retirement, when you retired, you just had nothing.
Yeah.
Unless you were a farmer or something like that. So that's why they started saying we have to make retirement more
look exciting.
Yeah. That this is a goal. You're going to work however many years, and then finally you're going to get to enjoy it.
Can you imagine the PR initiative on that? I mean, just hearing this history, we fast forward now 100 years later, and we're like, it's always been that. Like how retirement is the ultimate goal. And so just that messaging, I would love to study that to go, how did they PR that to switch the mindset over these years? And then, of course, what in the world changed to complement that message,
Well, it's definitely different because there's so many options now.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's any other. I think that's most of the just information that I gathered this morning. So when we're thinking about retirement, I thought about my dad that we talked about. He retired at 59.
Yeah.
And died at 84, 85, something like that.
Yeah.
Did nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he was retired longer than he worked.
Right.
And did nothing.
Yeah.
For him, he was perfectly happy with it. As you know, it drove your grandmother crazy because I'm worried like my grandmother and like, what are you doing with your life? So I thought when he retired, he would probably go back to school.
Yeah.
Because in Arkansas, when you retire, you can go to college for free.
Free, yeah.
So I thought if I were in his place, that's what I'd do.
Yeah.
I'd just go to school the rest of my life, and but he did nothing. So I look at his life and I think he was content, but gosh, did he waste a third of his life?
Yeah.
So then I thought also in retirement, I thought about patients. I have so many patients that retire. These are non-professional people, but just blue-collar workers. They retire, and after a short period of time, they go back to work. Some of them, a lot of them go back to work. A lot of them, then I have some that really do enjoy all the leisure activities that we think of for retirement. Traveling, cruises, golf, pickleball now is pickleball is huge. So they really thrive in retirement. So you've got different kinds of people. And then some of the, I can remember a few years ago, I had an older black man in hygiene, brand new patient, and I'm always touching people. So I grabbed his arm and I'm like, man, you are strong. I mean, it was just like rock solid. And I said, how old are you? 85.
85. Wow.
But he just retired. He was in the logging. And I was like, holy smokes. If my eyes were closed, I thought I was grabbing a college athlete. So the healthiest people I see in my practice, are particularly guys, are those that have farms or some kind of activity.
That manual labor.
So I think retirement, you need to really stay active.
Yeah.
So there are a variety, and I know. Then I thought about my peers, my friends that have retired. Some of them have. One in particular, I think, has retired well, as far as he's happy. He's on a tractor, bush hogging, and you know, and then others have gone on to other dental careers.
Yeah.
So they not totally retired. So I think I'm at a stage right now where I don't really know. A lot of my friends haven't retired yet.
Right.
They're still working, like Dr. Burns, Mike Burns.
Yes.
Is still
Which
still
he's
practice.
Probably,
he's my age, a little bit younger. So people approach retirement differently. I think the industry has helped to make it more palatable or more exciting.
Yeah.
But to begin with, it was just a profit thing, and now I think that concept, as far as age, has changed. You know, because some of your, like me, some of your best people are still working at 74.
Broken that barrier. Well, I do think it's important, though, to really look at retirement as the be all end all. Because I think we can't go into that blindly with the assumption. I think, you're cut from your mom's cloth. Gigi is what we refer to her as. I'm cut from your cloth. I'm, almost just borderline hyperactive. If there's not something to do, I'm creating something to do. And so I think when you probably think of retirement, I think of retirement all the time. I mean, we invest, especially now when you think of the investments that we put in each month to make sure that there's money for retirement in the end, it's like we're financially contributing to that idea of there will come a time when I'm no longer working and I want to be financially prepared for that. So it's not just this distant reality. We are living in the reality and financially cutting out our income now to save for that later. And again, I think that's incredibly wise, right?
Sure.
Because we want to reach a point where we can still, not be a burden to our kids one day and all of that. But the idea of I'm done working, to me, has never been an exciting idea either.
No.
And of course, I can think of maybe scaling back a little bit. Like when I imagine myself in the future, I'm like, oh, maybe I'm working 3 days a week.
Right.
And that would be still is like,
That'd
what
be
would
incredible.
I do the other days of the week? You know, so I think retirement really we have to dismantle the idea. For some, it may not be the be all end all. It may not seem like this glorious arrival. It may seem scary, and it may seem like, what is there to do then? What do you fill your life with after that point?
With Dr. Kuba's question, or questions, so I thought about answering these as one of her questions was, financial. So I asked myself, why in 74 and 47, 48 years of practice, why am I still practicing? So some financial reasons, recovering from, these impossible fail investments.
Yeah, you gotta try
I'm the guy that if it's going to fail, I'm in 100%. It'll never fail. It's never failed since the beginning of time. Oh yeah, it'll fail. So for me, some is recovering some of those stupid mistakes I've made. Still practicing a lot of it. Some of it is psychological for me. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if this is a man thing or just a me thing, but I am so tied with what I do, with who I am. Mm-hmm. I don't know who I would be if I wasn't a dentist.
Yeah.
I know I'm a grandpa. I know I'm a dad, and those occupy some time. But I am so tied to what I do.
It's your everyday life.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's to be expected, I would think.
Yeah. So I'm afraid I would become my dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would do nothing and waste his life, waste all those opportunities that he had. So there's a part of me that I'm afraid that could happen to me.
That makes sense, yeah.
So I just, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to
I'll
make that an option.
So the alternative is work.
So psychologically, I need to work because it's fulfilling and it's who I am and it's what I do. And at this point, I can't separate what I do from who I am.
Yeah.
Which I know is sad. And your friends are like, he is so sick. Counseling, he needs counseling. Another thing for me, why do I keep working? I've never developed any leisure activities.
Right.
I tried golf. I was absolutely terrible and so embarrassing to golf with my friends. And I was not patient enough to spend the time to get good at it.
Yeah.
So I don't play golf. I don't want to kill anything, so I don't hunt. I'm not patient enough for fishing. So I really don't have anything out there that I can hardly wait to retire because I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
The friends that I talked to that were excited about retirement, well, they can't play golf all the time. They can't fish all the time. So they have all of this excess time.
Yeah.
So if I were to retire, I've thought about this this morning. If I were to retire, I couldn't spend my time doing leisure things, but I would spend time figuring out what's next, what can I do, how can I generate money, how can I be
productive to society.
Productive, that's the word, productive. How can I be productive? Now, church wouldn't, I would be involved in church for sure.
Yeah.
So I don't have any leisure activities, so I don't want to retire. I don't have that thing out there waiting for me.
Yeah.
I work because it's still my passion.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about this in a minute. I know that there are guys and gals that are listening that they don't wake up every day excited to go to work. I'm fortunate that I do. I wake up every day excited. So it's my passion. It's what gets me fired up.
But I also think that's a choice. I can remember times where it wore on you, and even, I call it your midlife crisis, where you got out for a little bit and got back into it. So I think I think your passion can be a choice sometimes. Right. And, I talk about this all the time with our kids. Be content where you are. Mm-hmm. I'm saying that all the time. Like, I've got one that's always like, what's next? What's next? What are we doing next? And I'm always telling him, just think about right here, right now, and be content with where you are. And so I think passion kind of is similar in that way. We can choose to be content in and not just like, oh, I'm surviving this. Contentment is fulfillment. I am fulfilled. I'm satisfied in this moment. And so I do think passion can kind of go along with our choice to be passionate about. And I know that sounds, ethereal and so, it's just, but I do think there's a lot of truth in that we've got to, I think for you genuinely love it, but I think you've also made choices through the years, if you look back, of choosing to love it in moments where you're like, I'm kind of.
Yeah, and it could be my age, and there were times for your younger listeners where it wasn't as much fun. Yeah. And it was, you were struggling, and how are you going to meet payroll, and you need another employee, but you can't afford another employee. So I know that the part of it, and it's not fair for your listeners, part of it is just my age and where I am. Yeah. And that in those 48 years, there have definitely been struggles. And like you said, there was one time that I thought, well, I'm not supposed to do dentistry. I'm supposed to do some kind of Christian work.
Yeah.
Well, that was a mistake on so many levels. One of the reasons I'm still working, I gave away my practice. So.
Yeah. But I think the clarity you probably gained on the other side of that. Yeah. Even though it was a huge financial loss to you in the middle of your career.
It gave me direction, because at the time I was confused. I don't know that I was necessarily unhappy with dentistry. There may have been financial. I had a partner at that time, and I think I've mentioned we were together for 10 years. Never one day of confrontation. It was just better than marriage.
Yeah,
it was just perfect. So I don't think I was frustrated with Lane, my partner, or the staff, but there was just some kind of itch that maybe I'm supposed to do something else. So anyway, I tried that, and so that gave me clarity.
Yeah,
stepping away, making those financial idiotic moves there, but it gave me clarity and that may be what changed for me.
Yeah,
I can be happy in dentistry the rest of my life. There's nothing else out there that I'm looking to see. Is there something else that's more fulfilling? So I think it was a great moment of clarity, and maybe that was the point where I thought I can be happy. Now, as you and I know, there have been times of frustration. We mentioned this the other day when my friend Keith and I were going to update our computer system, and we freaking wiped out everything. There was supposed to be a redundant system that would save it. It saved nothing. Every patient file gone. So there have been
like these moments that are just
times of frustration. Yeah. But they make you stronger, and you can look back now, and it's hilarious to think that we did that. Yeah. What were we thinking? We pressed one button,
and it was just
and wiped out my whole office. Thankfully, at that time, if you remember, we still had paper charts. We weren't totally, so we were able to go back and
and then you knew never do that again.
Oh yeah, they won't even let me touch a computer today. If I'm in the room, they just don't
they protect the keyboard.
Yeah, do not touch it. Lots of things they don't let me talk about. Someone the other day said, "How much does this crown cost?" I said, "I'm being totally honest with you. I don't have a clue. I couldn't even get in the ballpark." And I kind of like being that way. Yeah. And the most of the assistants are that way too. They just prefer we just not be involved.
Let us
Here's the dentistry. Here's what needs to be done. Beyond that,
get on out.
Your guess is as good as mine. So anyway, so why else do I keep practicing? It's my passion. Relationships.
Yeah.
You and I are both relationship people. I could not sit home all day and not have that interaction. It just feeds me. And talking about becoming like my dad, I have found that when I'm home, if I don't have something that I have to do or need to do, I can just lie down and sleep.
Yeah.
So I see that could happen to me.
Yeah.
Because in small periods of time, I can do that. So I need that relationship for the energy, the relationship with the patients, relationship with the staff.
The team, yeah.
Yeah. So I just like that. But you're going to have some people that are like, holy crap.
Yeah, I can't stand that part.
And we'll talk about that in just a minute. And I still like to continue to learn. You and I both read all the time, listen to podcasts. I'm always excited about learning something new.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big driver. If I wasn't working,
if there's no need to,
Yeah.
if you're completely retired and there's really, you're having to, it really has got to be different to need to learn something in retirement, because then it's for pure enjoyment or for,
yeah.
yeah.
I agree. So I probably wouldn't,
Yeah.
because I need to be motivated and pushed.
Yeah.
So the bottom line of thinking about this, I thought I just put, I'm out of balance. That's it. I'm just strictly out of balance. I'm abnormal, but I have a psychological need to work. I still have a little financial reason to work. But for me, it's just my happy spot.
It's your happy spot. Yeah. It's your passion still.
So I wrote over here, why do people retire today then?
Yeah.
If originally it was to make the company more profitable, and we realize now people can be productive, their whole lives. You can look at all of the people that started companies in their older age, so that no longer is an issue. And sometimes our most productive years are I'm probably more productive at the office now because of technology, because of our team, than I've ever been. So at 74, I'm
better.
I'm better.
Yeah.
As far as production than I was before. So, but why do people retire today? I started thinking about my friends and stuff. So we retire because of health issues.
Yeah.
Something comes up, and so we have to retire. Some have reached their financial goals, and they're like, I'm out.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Some people have looked forward their whole lives to, when I reach a certain age or financial goals, I'm going to travel, I'm going to do this. And so that for them is that their motivation
be
for
all and all, yeah.
And other people want to pursue other interests. At one time I thought if I ever retired, I would get into real estate.
Yeah.
And then I realized I don't ever want. First of all, I would take a pay cut.
Yeah.
So why do you want to do that? And why would I want to leave if I'm in my sweet spot and I feel like I'm at my most productive, why would you leave that?
Why would you leave that?
Yeah. But some people retire to change careers, which leads to her other question, and we addressed that a little bit. What do you do when you have burnout? You don't want to do like I did and sell the practice. Don't jump there. Talk to somebody first.
Yeah, slow play that decision. That is such a key point.
So I asked myself this question, okay, how do you enjoy dentistry until you retire? Mm-hmm. So my first thought was gratitude.
Yeah.
Just develop a heart and a mind of gratitude. And gratitude for the profession that we're in. I think it's still one of the finest professional
fields.
It's just great. We have a lot of freedom. We can make good money. It's just still a great field to be in. So I think wake up every day and say, I'm just so grateful
Yeah.
that I get to make money.
Yeah.
And if my passion is one day I want to live overseas in Italy, this is a vehicle that can get me there.
Yeah.
Or whatever. This is a vehicle to get you. If this is not your passion and you see retirement, you want to retire one day, this is a great vehicle to do that.
You use it to, if your goal is retirement, this is a fantastic vessel to get you there. And oh man, that's
sorry, B.
Hey, the news is popping in on this. They want to say something.
And if you're wiser than I was, you can get there pretty quickly. If you've got the right team around you financially, you can get there pretty quickly. So you can retire early, and you can do something else. Let's say you got into the industry and you're like, man, I missed it. This is not my passion. This is not what I want to do the rest of my life. But it can definitely be the vehicle to what you want to
propel you into. If you think about it from a schedule standpoint, like let's say you wanted to do something that required you to go back to school.
Yeah.
Dentistry is one of the most flexible fields in the way of being able to scale your schedule back and still be productive, or change your working days to be able to allow you to go to school. Plus you add the financial, benefit of being a dentist. I mean, I agree.
What other professional
I know
field allows you to do
there,
that?
But to me, this is one of the few.
Yeah.
Especially in the medical field. I tell people all the time, if you compare it to the medical field, like it is a medical profession.
Oh yeah.
Dentistry is, but it's so different from the medical field, and the freedom that we have and the growth that we're able to experience. And to me, it's just a remarkable field.
Yeah. I still think it's great. So gratitude for the profession we're in, gratitude for the financial reward that we can receive from this. Gratitude for the relationships that we get to develop with our staff, and just the patients.
Yeah,
we get such a hoot from some of our patients. It's just so it just brings a smile to my face thinking the stories that we hear, and you're like, holy smokes, what would I have missed if I was home working in the garden with your mother? The great stories that we get to hear. So a gratitude for the profession, for the money that we can make, for the relationships, gratitude for our health.
Yeah.
Boy, I really don't want to go to work today. It's not my passion, but man, I'm just so glad to be healthy to do this. And gratitude toward our family. So I can extend my life in dentistry or keep working until retirement because I have a heart of gratitude. Yeah. So then you're focusing on the positive things in your life. And maybe the practice is not the most positive thing in your world because it's stressful, whether it be financial or staff. Like the other day when you were talking about your practice, that the computers were just gone. An employee made a mistake, computers that's a bad day. Then so if we can just be grateful, I think it covers a multitude of crap that happens in our life. Then how can I enjoy dentistry until I retire? I think, and I'm not a perfect example of this, but try to bring balance to your life. So if your practice feeds you like it does me, and you get your joy and your energy from that, well, you still need to find a balance, which I haven't done yet, maybe in the future. Find a balance away from the office. Like I think your mother, in a little way, resents the joy that I have in going to work, and that I don't find it with her.
She's like, why don't you want to spend the day in the garden with me?
Why don't you want to retire? So I need to find a balance there. So if your practice is your end all and it's everything, don't forget your family.
Yeah.
You got to balance that with your kids.
And at some point, it won't be. There will come a point where there has to be a choice to leave your love, your passion. So it's like you are whoever is listening would be protecting themselves by developing those other passions, so that if and when the time does come that they have to depart from the practice, they've got this backup plan.
It won't be lost like I'm going to be.
Yeah.
Like you'll be when I retire. I'll be locked up somewhere, and you'll
have to come and rescue you.
Can I go see my dad? You know, he's in cell, whatever. We're going to do a podcast. So anyway, I can stay in dentistry until retirement if I have balance. So if your practice feeds you, you know, but if your practice drains you, find balance outside. It doesn't have to, I don't think it has to be as joyful for everyone as it is for me.
Right.
But just again, realize it's a vehicle to bring joy outside.
Right. This can fuel if the practice isn't your true passion, but you're able to do it well, then it can fuel your other passions.
Right. Yeah. Which then gives you motivation to come back every day. Like, I'm going to see these crappy patients and these employees that drive me crazy because it's fueling this happy part of my life. So it's that balance. How to enjoy dentistry until you retire, reward yourself.
Yeah.
Either with time off or trips or toys.
Yeah.
Everyone has something, so reward yourself.
Yeah. And then recognizing, again, it goes back to gratitude. Once you reward yourself, I'm able to reward myself in whatever way. Because
of this profession and these patients that I have. And I just made a note over here to enjoy the small wins.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we just don't enjoy. So I think we ought to take time to look back. We should do this as a staff, and we talk about it, but we never do it, of looking at the day before, what was the win?
Yeah.
But we're just so hit the ground and...
Go.
You know, and that's probably my fault, because I'm like, yesterday was yesterday.
Let's move on.
Means nothing. Let's move on. What are we doing today? But I think it helps if you can... It'll help you till retirement if you can and recognize those small wins.
Yeah. It could be something small.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
The compliment that a lady left on her way out yesterday and how she bragged on the team. Like, that's a win. And I do think that is one aspect that we tend to get lose sight of in our busy days is we are making impacts on people, whether positive or negative.
Yeah.
But we have to focus on the wins. And if a sweet lady was walking out complimenting our team, that means we impacted her that day.
Yeah.
And that's worth reflecting on and celebrating.
We find that, or we think about this a lot, that because our practice is geared toward, most of the staff is really friendly, really loving, that we often think we may be the only people that love this person today.
Right. Yes.
So there's just a lot of pain out there, and if we can be, and of course we can be painful too, but psychological and emotional pain, people just come in with all kinds of baggage. So if we can minister to their dental needs, but at the same time bring a ray of light to them, and we're just really fortunate in our practice that we honestly do not judge people at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't have any, and we're just fortunate to have a bunch of women
that are like-minded.
That are like-minded. So if you can think about those small wins too, that maybe they rejected your treatment plan, but maybe we can make them still feel good. Yeah. I find that a lot of people come in and they're really terribly embarrassed by their dental situation.
Yeah.
Really, really embarrassed. And some of those people we can help, and some people it's just financially impossible for them to do anything about. So if we can still express love and concern and care for those people, even though they can't do what we could do, we know we could change their life.
Yeah.
by changing their smile or changing their health. But some people, it's impossible. But to love those people anyway.
Yeah.
We had a meeting recently, and we were talking about that because every practice has difficult patients.
Yeah.
We were going to fire a lady last week, and thankfully she called and said, "I'm not coming back." So
She fired herself.
Just rude, just terrible. And they're always rude to the staff. They'll never be rude to me.
Right.
They're like, "You didn't see her at the front desk. She was horrible." But they will not, normally with the doctor, show out like that. So anyway, I was just I said, in the scriptures, it basically says it's easy to love those that love you. And you don't even really get any credit for that because it doesn't require anything. So the true test is to love those that are unlovable. Yeah. So that's kind of been our thing. Let's love the unlovable, because I think we make a difference with them dentally and mentally and emotionally. How do you enjoy dentistry until you retire? You don't necessarily have to be at the chair all the time.
Right.
You don't necessarily always have to be a solo practitioner. You can bring in a partner. And then maybe you do something else. Maybe you teach.
Yeah.
Maybe you do something else. So if the chair is if you can't say, okay, I can go to work every day and I can be productive and I can be reasonably nice because I'm getting this financial reward. But if that's still not enough, look at other options.
Yeah.
There are other options than sitting day in and day out with a drill in your hand.
Yeah. I've had some that have gone on to work with product companies, one that was real passionate about like holistic type dental products, and she became an advisor to them and goes and talks about the product at conferences and things like that. I mean, there's so many. I think there are options,
so many options, which is great. So don't. I guess I would say don't be absolutely miserable.
Yeah. Because
that will spill over to your staff and spill over to your family.
Yeah.
And you'll end up with no one.
Yeah.
You won't have a practice. You won't have a family. You won't have any money. So I would reach out to consultants like you and just say, hey, help me walk through this.
Yeah.
Do I stay in dentistry? What can you do to help me either change my mindset or change the way that I practice? Because some of it is just
what you're putting in the chair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
just if you hate doing a certain clinical, don't do it.
Yeah.
You got
a choice.
If it's just stress, if it's a root canal and you're like, oh my Lord, or whatever it is.
Yeah. I say that all the time. That's where that customizable side of dentistry.
It's another great thing about our profession. What other profession do you get to do that?
Yeah.
Unless you are an ultra specialist that you know.
Yeah, but you go to a family doctor, they don't get to say, hey, I'm not really in the field doing blood work. I don't want to look at your blood work. I mean, we have the ability to customize and create a niche practice based on what we love to do.
Yeah.
So you don't have, if you're hating certain procedures in the chair, then figure out how to build a practice without it.
And that'll bring more joy, and you'll be ready to get up the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you were going to do that in the medical profession and limit the scope of what you do, well, you can do that, but you're going to go to school for 12 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
In dentistry, you can go 4 years, and then you figure it out and special it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, gratitude for what a great profession we're in.
Yeah. And the freedom to really think about that. Like maybe if you really look at what's making you unhappy throughout the day and being real thoughtful in that process, you may just figure out, hey, it's not my whole day.
Yeah.
It's this type of patient, or it's this procedure that tends to blow my whole day up. And so just starting to be mindful about what is it specifically that's stressing me out, or sucking out the passion that I had walking in this morning. It was gone when I stepped into that root canal this morning.
Yeah.
Okay, well then
Don't do those.
Let's reformat the practice.
Right.
And supplement in other ways.
Isn't that awesome?
That's so
What a great profession we're in. So don't quit.
Yeah.
Keep working 47, 48. Yeah. So my patients will ask, you have any, particularly new patients, are you going to retire?
Yeah.
And I said, really? I know. I'll say this says a lot about me, but I don't want to quit.
Yeah.
And I kind of teasingly say they're going to have to drag my cold, dead body out of here, but that would be the dream. Just one day you just croak. They would just push me aside and probably finish the day. Hey, we've got a goal to meet today.
Yeah.
Move him out.
We'll
call somebody later. So for me in retirement, I really hope to never retire. Now, what does that mean? Am I working at some point 2 days a week?
Yeah.
But my goal right now is I would love to continue to work full time till 80.
Yeah.
And then reevaluate.
Yeah.
Am I effective or am I losing it?
Yeah.
But if I'm still on my game,
well, yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? Why?
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't like, and we're at a point in our marriage where the things that your mother likes to do, like travel and beach and stuff like that, she can go with friends now.
Yeah.
And I'll go to work and pay for it. And it's a win-win. It is a great spot we're in.
She's happy. You're happy.
Yeah.
It's so true. And again, she's one of those that's
and she's okay with that.
Yeah.
And she's okay with me working.
Yeah.
She likes for me to work.
Yeah.
I'll get off an hour early and she's like,
what are you doing here?
What are you doing home? Well, we've already met production goals and I thought I'd just come home early. Do you think it's okay? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I guess the other tip is have a supportive spouse.
Yeah.
Make sure they're on board with your.
Well, sure, definitely.
Yeah.
Because if she was, it would be totally different
if she was bitter,
miserable and bitter, and so for us it works. Yeah. But every relationship is different, so just make sure. So I think retirement. If you have a goal out there that I can see myself retiring.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. Can I see myself retiring, and what am I doing?
Yeah.
So for me, I can't see myself retiring, so that's okay.
Yeah.
And you'll have people like that will want to work forever. But if you see yourself retiring and you have a goal and you see your life happy in retirement, then just get some help on how to get there, financially, with the staff. How do we get there? Because you're just not going to
arrive.
You're just not going to arrive. You may have a dream, a goal, but without a game plan,
you won't get there.
Without a game plan, you'll make some crazy investments and just think, God, that was really stupid.
Knee-jerk decision. That sounds good. Let's do it.
and one of the things is your mate they may forget a lot of things, but they will not forget those. Those will periodically come up in the midst of a heated argument. Forever. Go back to work. That was a dumb idea.
Oh my gosh. No, I think this is, to me, and I tell people this all the time, whether they're just starting their practice or in the middle of their practice, I tell people all the time, you got to think about what you're aiming for.
Right.
Is it retirement? And like you said, okay, then let's put those pieces together, build your advisory team around that. If it's not, man, I love dentistry. Okay, then how are we protecting your body?
Right.
Because it means you want to do this as long as you can. So physically, mentally, emotionally, let's make sure that we're protecting the number one thing that you have to have in order to work that long, which is your body. So either way, no matter where you're headed, you've got to put a plan together and make sure you're working towards that.
And that plan, because part of the plan needs to be, what if something unexpected happens?
Yeah.
And I do have a health issue.
Yeah.
So you have to have that contingency in there. Yeah, I want to work forever, but realistically, at some point, the body's going to break down, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
So you got to have that advisory team ready.
Yeah,
it's called forced retirement.
Some people may have to get there. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
No, this is great. Thank you for putting all the thought. Man, now I'm just so curious on that retirement history.
Go back
I've just got to go look into it more. And
yeah, because that was only just like a 10-minute search this morning, but it'd be really
I'm like
fun
dying
to see
how they. Yeah, that's just fascinating.
I guess I just always assumed that retirement was for the benefit of the employee. Never was it for the benefit originally.
I never thought about it that companies would want that.
Yeah, those old 40-year-olds,
yeah,
they can't work. Mentally, they're gone.
Their mind's going.
Yeah.
40. Oh, well, thanks for chatting. I'm hoping that we've got many more years. I mean, next year we may be back and you may be giving another pep talk on retirement.
Yeah.
82, you might be sitting here going,
yeah. What's your name? Who are you?
Why are you here? Right now?
Where are we?
Oh, thanks, Dad.
Right, love you. Y'all drive carefully.
Thanks for joining the conversation today. We hope that you are comforted in knowing that you are not alone, but we also hope that you're walking away with some really great tips and tricks to try in your practice. We value your feedback, so please take a few moments to rate and review the podcast. Finally, we want to make sure that we're covering the topics that matter to you. So track us down on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and let us know what topics you want us to cover. As always, please know that we are rooting for you today as you manage your dental drama.